Many people stay silent when someone treats them badly. They ignore rude behavior, hoping it will stop on its own. At first, the disrespect seems small, so they choose peace instead of confrontation. They believe staying calm is the better choice. But when kindness has no boundaries, others slowly begin treating it like weakness. This is the story of a quiet horse, a proud chicken, and one lesson that changed an entire farm. On a large farm near the countryside, Rowan worked harder than any other animal. Every morning before sunrise, he carried heavy grain, pulled wagons through muddy roads, and helped the farmer until nightfall. The animals admired his strength, but they noticed something else too. Rowan never argued. If another animal pushed past him, he quietly stepped aside. If goats ate from his hay pile, he found another place to eat. Even younger horses interrupted him at the water trough without hearing a complaint. Rowan believed peace was always more important than conflict. Near the barn lived a loud red chicken named Jasper. Jasper loved attention and enjoyed bothering weaker animals for amusement. Every morning he strutted across the fences as if the farm belonged to him. One afternoon he wandered into Rowan's stall while the horse was eating. Smirking to himself, Jasper kicked grain from Rowan's feed box onto the dirt floor. "Too slow again," he laughed. Rowan simply lowered his head and quietly ate what remained. He said nothing. Jasper noticed something important that day. The strongest animal on the farm had no intention of resisting. The next morning, Jasper returned and scattered even more grain across the ground. Again, Rowan stayed silent. Soon, the behavior became a daily habit. Jasper pecked Rowan's legs while he rested and flapped loudly beside his ears just to irritate him. Rowan ignored everything because he believed reacting would only create more problems. But the farm was watching carefully. The goats became bolder and climbed into Rowan's feeding pile. The pigs pushed into his stall during meals. Even a smaller mule shoved him aside at the water trough. Every time, Rowan quietly moved away without protest. One cold evening, an older horse named Selene arrived at the farm. She had worked on many farms before and noticed things quickly. That first night, she watched Jasper kick grain from Rowan's stall while the other animals quietly observed. Rowan lowered his head and accepted it without resistance. Later, Selene noticed something else. At the water trough, a younger mule pushed past Rowan impatiently, and once again the large gray horse stepped aside in silence. Selene said nothing, but by morning she already understood the problem was far bigger than spilled grain. The next day, Jasper returned with the same careless confidence. Before he could scatter the grain again, Selene calmly stepped forward. "Why do you allow this?" she asked Rowan. Rowan looked surprised by the question. "It is only grain," he answered softly. "There is no reason to create conflict over something so small." Selene studied him quietly for a moment before turning toward the barn entrance, where an old mule stood near the heavy wooden gate. Jasper avoided looking at the mule entirely. Selene nodded toward the mule. "You never bother him," she said calmly. Jasper frowned, but stayed silent. "Not because he is bigger than Rowan," Selene continued, "but because you know he will not move simply because you want him to." The barn became quiet. Rowan listened carefully, while the other animals watched from nearby stalls. Selene turned back toward him. "Disrespect grows wherever people believe there are no boundaries," she said softly. "The moment something stops moving, everything changes." That afternoon, Jasper walked into Rowan's stall again with the same arrogant grin. Several animals secretly watched from nearby, expecting the usual scene. Rowan felt uncomfortable standing in front of his feed box. Part of him wanted to step aside as he always had before. Avoiding conflict felt easier, familiar, safe, but this time he remained still. Jasper laughed and kicked forward carelessly. His claw struck Rowan's hoof instead. Startled, the chicken stumbled backward. Rowan slowly lowered his head, not angrily, but firmly enough to make one thing clear. "I eat first," Rowan said quietly. The barn fell completely silent. Jasper opened his beak as if he wanted to argue, but the confidence on his face had already begun fading. For the first time, he realized the space in front of him was no longer empty. Rowan had not shouted, he had not attacked anyone, but he was no longer stepping aside simply to keep others comfortable. Without another word, Jasper backed away from the stall. Every animal watching understood that something important had changed inside the barn that day. Over the following days, the atmosphere on the farm slowly shifted. The pigs stopped stealing Rowan's hay. The goats no longer climbed into his feeding pile. The younger mule waited patiently at the water trough instead of pushing him aside. Rowan had not become cruel or aggressive. He still worked hard, still helped the farmer, and still treated the other animals with kindness. But now the farm understood something it had forgotten before. Kindness and weakness were not the same thing. Rowan had finally learned that protecting his boundaries did not destroy his gentle nature. It protected it. Many people believe silence always keeps life peaceful. Sometimes it does for a while, but when others learn they can disrespect you without consequences, they often continue crossing the line. Not always because they are cruel, but because nobody ever showed them where the boundary was. The world often treats people the way they allow themselves to be treated, and sometimes one quiet moment of self-respect is enough to change everything forever. If this story made you pause and reflect, share it with someone who may need to hear it, and subscribe for more stories that might change the way you see your life.